I want to throw this question out. How will lockdown 3 affect your job or business? Are you familiar with the term cognitive dissonance? Do you know that term? I can remember when I was about 25 years old, I first heard that term, and somebody explained to me what cognitive dissonance was. I was so excited. I've got no psychology education or background. I was just excited. This was one of the most beautiful and perfect descriptions of what kind of happens to the human condition. In a nutshell, having conflicting opinions, often having a fairly strong view on one issue, but having an equally robust view on another, and the two views that you have clash. How do you balance those inner battles? This whole COVID story is full of moments where an unhelpful dose of cognitive dissonance creeps in. Lockdowns are ridiculous, but I support the NHS and all of its struggles. That kind of thing. It would be fair, I think, to say that most of us, when it comes to lockdowns, are not happy with a lockdown, right? I don't know anybody who wants a lockdown. This government, of course, and we know, we've said it many times, have been next to useless on how they've managed this pandemic. So many opportunities missed, so many chances to put things right that either never happened or happened way too late, or just the basic ineffectiveness of those charged with running the country. And I think I probably speak for most people. You want to watch your Prime Minister or any political leader speak. You want to have a faith in your political masters. I need to believe they know something I don't know. And one of the areas that they've spectacularly got wrong is recognising and acknowledging the plight of individuals and small businesses and what lockdown means to them. I mean, it's fabulous that once a month Rishi pitches up with his big sack of cash and throws out some much-needed help for workers, but it rarely touches the sides. It doesn't address the more fundamental issues, the millions of self-employed, often referred to as the forgotten, small businesses that simply cannot survive any longer. They gave it a good go. Remember all of this. They gave it a good go, played by the rules, pulled out all the stops. Psychologically, lots of businesses sort of had their mind set on, well, we can do this till the end of the year, right? Remember this? I lost count of how many calls we took on that. We'll do this to the end of the year. We've worked out that we can just about get through. We'll make no money, but we can just about break even until the end of year. We'll do it by Christmas. Now we'll be lucky to do it by Easter. The implications for these individuals and businesses are absolutely massive. Not just financially, but mentally as well. Few societal implications when it comes to mass unemployment. And then, of course, the obvious overarching dent to the public coffers. Can you survive this lockdown? Let me throw it out like that. And I'm talking about people, not talking about people like me, for example. I'm a bit miffed. I can't take the kids to the cinema or take the little one to soft play. I can't go to the pub for a swift pint or meet my mates for a bite to eat. But that's annoying. I don't like it very much. But in reality, it's not substantially going to change my life. Life feels a bit darker, but I can get through this. But what about you? What about those that are running a business? What about those in jobs where there is no light at the end of the tunnel? Let me bring you some facts about where we're at on this. These are the kind of things you will not hear Admiral Johnson or Chris Whitty say at any point. These are inconvenient truths. All of these, of course, are points that are just as important as the pandemic itself. And you could start with unemployment, 1.2% higher than a year earlier, 0% higher than the previous quarter, and it is set to go up. It stands at nearly 5%. Company redundancies, where do we start on this one? Debenhams, 14,500 jobs. Think about these numbers. A year ago, these would have been unthinkable that I could read out such a list of this. Debenhams, 14,500. Heathrow Airport, 25,000 jobs. M&S, 7,000. British Airways, 12,000. Then you think of the big high street players that have gone by the wayside. Arcadia, the Topshop Group, Peacocks and Jaeger. Debenhams, Bon Marché, again, all gone. Think of the mental health implications of this. On the NHS at the end of September, there were 1,339,842 people in contact with mental health services. These were mostly adults looking for assistance or help. There were kids, of course, in that list too. Latest figures, 334,406 new referrals were received into services during September, right bang in the middle of all of this. Calls to the Citizens Advice Helpline and their website, 5.6 million views on their website. 161,000 people given advice on the phone, email or website. The top search term at Citizens Advice is the word redundancy. Cancelled hospital appointments. I mean, where do we even start with that? The self-employed, I mentioned, there's nearly 5 million self-employed people. It's decreasing that number. Where do we go with this? So factor all of those elements into it. You begin to see the destruction of many people's lives. Now, I don't know the way around this. We touched on this yesterday. And I'm reminded of the figures again. Let's bring it back. Cognitive dissonance. I started with this. This is the thread of, I think, where we're all at. Over 60,000 people infected. If we had no lockdown at all, that number would rise. Therefore, hospital admissions will rise. It's not that COVID itself is especially deadly. It's that it's a novel virus that almost no one still has immunity from. So everybody can get it at the same time. And that's kind of happening around us. You get X amount of people if 100 people went to hospital, if 100 people got it, 10 went to hospital, 1 died from that, multiply that across the country, you begin to get the picture. So there is this conflicting view between, yes, I get the facts, I understand all of that, but I can also see the absolute tyrannical raid that COVID is taking on individuals. I'm talking jobs, I'm talking businesses, I'm talking the self-employed. What will lockdown do to you, your gig, your profession, your livelihood? 0344 499 1000. Let's chew this one over, because we did, just before Christmas, we did a week of shows, if you remember. Each day focusing on a different aspect. We did retail one day, we did hospitality, we did transportation, and we were looking at all the different aspects of how different industries were affected. Probably what resonated most out of all of that was a sense that I can just keep this going to the end of the year. And time again, that view came through loud and clear. I can get this going to the end of the year. We've surpassed the end of the year. We're now in a new year and a brand new lockdown. What does it mean for you, your job, your gig, your business, your livelihood? And the knock-on effects of that, Mr. Johnson, the knock-on effects of that are absolutely vast. I'm not here with all the answers, but I've got a whole bunch of questions that my political masters are not even attempting to answer. And this country will need help from our political masters down there at Westminster. So when you're sitting on your green benches or being chauffeured around or managing to trouser your impressive salaries, just think for a second of your constituents. Think of the people. Again, this is not a suggestion that we don't have any form of lockdown. I don't purport to know the answer. I'm not paid to know the answer, but I am paid to ask the questions of our political masters, and I'm certainly paid to welcome you to our forum, the home of free speech, and explain what all of this in translation means on Civvy Street for your job, your livelihood, your business. 0344 499 1000.